Hey, what is up you guys? This is Steffi, aka In My Humble Opinion, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we are once again breaking down another episode of The Handmaid's Tale. We're gonna break down plot point by plot point exactly what happened, and then I'm gonna give you guys my overall thoughts. And in this video, we are talking about Season 4, Episode 5 of The Handmaid's Tale, and the episode is entitled Chicago. Before we get into this review, I just want to say I am so beyond happy that a lot of you seem to be enjoying this new format of how I cover The Handmaid's Tale. I know some of you are still a little butthurt about no more reactions, but for the most part, it seems a lot of you are happy with this new format. In fact, one of you actually compared this to Game of Thrones, which is a huge compliment. But if you have been enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up, that would be much appreciated so other people, other Handmaid's Tale fans like yourself can find my videos, my content, and I would really appreciate it as well if you could hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you know when a new video from me comes out. But with that, let's now get into this review. So, we open up the episode and June is thinking about sexy time with Luke. Sorry, Nick stans. And why? Because June can literally hear Janine getting it on with Steven in the same room.
Waking up in the morning, thinking about so many things. I just wish things would get better. I'm trying to get rid of them, but nothing seems to stay the same.
We then hear explosions, and June, being June, gets up to investigate all of the commotion, and we get dramatic side profile of Elizabeth Moss. Later, June then asks one of Steven's disciples if she could tag along on one of the trading trips, to which the disciple replies, "It's Steven's call." But this is June Osborne. She doesn't take no for an answer, so she gets up to find Steven, and we get classic guy teaching girl how to do something, but it's really guy trying to get close to the girl.
I'm trying to get rid of them, but nothing seems to stay the same.
Janine then vouches for June and convinces Steven to let her go on their trading mission, given June's stellar resume. Of course, as long as June does what Steven tells her to do. We then cut to Gilead with the aunties who are on the cusp of retirement, but Aunt Lydia is not ready to enter her Golden Girls era of her life quite yet, and we see her on the treadmill getting her steps in honey. Aunt Lydia then asks Aunt Ruth if she can get reinstated after seeing a new crop of girls. And when Aunt Ruth basically tells Aunt Lydia, "Girl, it's just a job," Aunt Lydia goes full on, "Gilead is my life." Meanwhile, Commander Lawrence is proposing a temporary ceasefire to the council, specifically in California, Texas, and Chicago. And you know who's in Chicago? Janine and June. But the council is like, LOL, no, including Nick. But speaking of Chicago, June gets mad at Steven for not shooting down one of the guards when he had the chance. To which Steven is like,
"Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now."
You know how there's such a thing as like flight or fight response? Well, in this case, it's more of a fight or freeze scenario. Steven is more of the freeze, and June is definitely more of a fight. She's a fighter, like Christina Aguilera. At the trading center, we then see June swipe left in real time, hashtag poor Brad, and Janine really wants to get Steven a Chicago cap because apparently Steven is a fan of baseball.
Clap if you care. All right, let's move on.
Well, you know, June wants this storyline to be over just as much as we do, and she gives Janine her handmaid's cloak, because apparently that baseball cap is equivalent to not one, but two handmaid's cloaks. Oh, Janine, sweetie, I know it's slim pickings, but Steven? Really, girl? Steven? What about Brad? I mean, poor Brad. Back in Gilead, Aunt Lydia tries blackmailing Commander Lawrence so she can get reinstated, and Lawrence is like, sweetie, you help me, I'll help you. Give me the gauze. Oh my gosh, give me the gauze. I've been watching too many British TV shows, I swear. Give me the 411 Mary J. Blige on these other commanders so I can get my seat back on the council and then get you reinstated. And Aunt Lydia agrees, as long as, here we go again with these terms and conditions, as long as she can discipline June herself when they inevitably capture her again. Commander Lawrence, Joseph, he agrees. I remember when I first watched this scene, I was like, ooh, June, you in danger, girl. And also at the same time too, Aunt Lydia is a bit cocky. But then again, statistics are on her side because quite literally every time June gets this close to leaving Gilead, she doesn't. Back in Chicago, June tells Janine that they need to go ASAP to find the Nightcrawlers, and the Nightcrawlers are basically these people who enjoy killing the soldiers. Unfortunately for June and for us, Janine has caught feelings for Steven. And then we get this really, really great conversation between Janine and June explains that she thinks Steven is taking advantage of Janine. Janine is defending her decisions because it's her life, and she even starts accusing June of having a savior complex, which, again, thank you, Janine, and tells June that she's starting to act like Aunt Lydia, and then to add salt to the wound, she brings up Alma and Brianna. There has been so much tension between Janine and June, especially in these last 2 episodes, and seeing the ebbs and flows of their friendship in this season has been one of the true highlights of The Handmaid's Tale for me in season 4. And you know, it makes sense too, because for the most part, Janine and June have always been in a group with the other girls, but now that the other girls are no longer here and it's just Janine and June, there's going to be quite a number of confrontations taking place, especially given what has happened. So yeah, I really love seeing Janine and June just tell it like it is to each other. And June finally ends this conversation by giving Janine an ultimatum, and she basically tells Janine that she is leaving, she gotta go, and Janine needs to figure out if she's gonna go with her or if she's gonna stay. We then get a scene where Nick meets with 2 Marthas and asks them if they know where June is. And Lori the Martha says how she really feels about June.
How many of you have ever felt personally victimized by Regina George? Good. Okay, who's next?
After this revelation, Nick decides it's the opportune moment to admit that he too has caught feelings for June, and the other Martha tells Nick that there were 2 handmaids that were spotted going to Chicago a couple days ago. We then see #poor Brad giving June directions, and Janine reveals to June that she is going to stay with Steven. Oh my goodness, when I watched this scene for the first time, I was so mad at Janine, and I was so mad at the writers. I was like, oh my god, after all that we have been through, after all that she has been through, we're just gonna let Janine go like this? For Steven?
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you! Learn something from this!
But Janine, being the thoughtful person that she is, gives June a parting gift, which is the Chicago cap that she was going to give Steven. And if I was June, I'd be like, I don't want Steven's scraps. We then get an Aunt Lydia morning routine sequence, and we see Aunt Lydia is back in her element, in the middle of a circle of handmaids. We then go back to June, who is now walking the abandoned streets of Chicago by her lonesome, and then June suddenly gets this feeling that maybe she's being watched, maybe she's being followed, so she takes shelter underneath the car. And then we see these 2 legs standing right beside the car, and it's Janine. This is my favorite scene. This is my favorite line of this episode. And Janine tells June that she's staying, and she says, "Handmaids always walk in 2s. Remember?" I actually shed a couple of tears. I was very verklempt at this point in the episode because I was so freaking frustrated at Janine because she was dickmatized by Steven, but she chose her girl because, like Aunt Lydia instilled in them, handmaids always walk in 2s. And I think that this specific scene followed the Aunt Lydia scene where we saw Aunt Lydia, telling the new handmaids about how men will try and lead you astray. I was like, well, in this episode, that man was Steven. And then we also hear Aunt Lydia telling the new handmaids that their bond will be strong with each other and that they will never be alone. I was like, well, see, look, at least Aunt Lydia instilled these values in these girls, for better or worse. And just getting that imagery again of seeing the handmaids walk in pairs, and now we see Janine and June in their regular everyday clothes, walking side by side with each other in the abandoned streets of Chicago. I was just like, oh, that was good. That was good. Nick reopens Commander Lawrence's proposal on the ceasefire to the council, but now the council is totally on board, and one of the commanders tells Nick that they will cease fire for 24 hours. And Nick is kind of confused because he's like, what the hell? A couple days ago, you guys were not on board with this. And then Commander Lawrence pops in from behind and exudes this surprise bitch, thought you saw the last of me energy. But the catch is Nick has to lead the bombings on all of these territories before the ceasefire, and Nick quite literally looks like he's about ready to throw up. Back in Chicago, June has another something isn't right moment, and whenever June has those something isn't right moments, something probably is not right. And then the girls start running because the bombs, they're bombing. June then slowly wakes up in the middle of the rubble. Honestly, at this point, is June Bionic Woman? Because she has quite literally survived so many things. But June wakes up in the middle of the rubble, and we start hearing sad piano music playing, and we're all thinking at this point, where the hell is Janine? Is Janine okay? And you know what I really started to worry? As soon as that cover of Coldplay's Fix You started to play, because in almost every single TV show and movie that I've watched, every time you get a Coldplay Fix You moment, that is never a good sign. But maybe Handmaid's Tale is the exception, because who do we see? Once the smoke starts to clear, it's Moira. Mic drop, cut to black, you're shook.
It's Britney, bitch.
Okay, so now for some general post-show thoughts. So a couple weeks ago, I believe when my season 4 review first came out, someone had asked me in the comments section, how did I feel about the season? And I, at the time, told them I really liked the back half of the season, at least from what I got, the last 4 episodes. And that starts right now, guys. So everybody, gird your loins. Ooh, you are not ready. But yeah, this episode, oh my gosh, that ending just, I thought I was hallucinating. I was like, is she hallucinating or am I hallucinating? What is happening? What a cliffhanger to the next episode. For me, I felt like this episode was us watching a lot of these characters trying to leverage themselves, trying to leverage some information so that they can get ahead in some way, whether it be Aunt Lydia, Commander Lawrence, or even Nick, even June with Steven's crew. You know, June had an agenda. And I will say as well, regarding Aunt Lydia's storyline, it was interesting seeing how Gilead as a society was trying to phase her out because of, for me, the way I interpreted it was because of her age and also because of the fact that her class of handmaids were the bad apple, so to speak. That was just like an interesting facet of the episode to watch. And of course, you know, Aunt Lydia being Aunt Lydia, she's not going down without a fight. But for me, whenever I think back on this episode, my main takeaway is that Janine and June friendship. I'm so happy that Janine finally came to her senses by the very end, because again, like I said, if after everything she went through, the writers were to just let Janine settle and stay with Steven, that would have been very disappointing. But this episode for me, the heart of it was that Janine and June friendship, that relationship. It's interesting when Janine says, you know, handmaids walk in twos, because at the very end of the episode, we don't really know where Janine is, but as soon as like Janine leaves the picture, I guess, who appears? Moira. So June isn't technically alone. She still has like her pair with her. Yeah, this was a solid episode. I hope you guys are like ready to go with the next one, because man, woo! Alright, so my question for you guys is, I want to know, what are your Janine predictions? Do you think Janine is there? Do you think Janine died? Do you think June is going to be able to find Janine next episode? Let me know what you're thinking. I'd love to hear, because I just always really enjoy hearing your guys' predictions, especially for the next episode. And this is quite a cliffhanger, so I'd love to hear where you're mentally at right now. Where is Janine? And alright, that's about it for this video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and please turn on the notification button down below so you know when a new video from me comes out. And comment down below your thoughts on this episode. Once again, I'm so appreciative of the fact that you guys are really enjoying these videos and that you've been open to this new format. Really makes me happy. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, everything I said was just my own personal thoughts and all my humble opinion, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!